Hi there, I'm Lisa from Mythical Witchery. Welcome to my channel. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Really glad to have you. Today I'm doing a hashtag. ILoveLinenDecks. This is the first hashtag that I've created. Hopefully there will be more in the future. I hope that you enjoy it. The reason why I decided to do this hashtag is literally because I love linen decks. Once I discovered that how easy to shuffle linen decks were, there's no going back for me. I have very severe arthritis, and so shuffling can be really difficult. Linen decks, however, tend to be a little bit bendy. They a little bit more flexible, not always, but often. The pockets, the air pockets that are created by the finish make riffle shuffling so much easier. Anything that makes shuffling easier for me is great. So that's why I decided to make this hashtag. So let's have a look at my linen deck collection. Before I get started, I just want to tell you that there are timestamps in the description below. So skip ahead if you like. If there are decks that you're not interested in, go ahead and skip to the next deck. I really hope that you enjoy the video, and thank you for joining me today. Starting with the first deck, this is a mass market deck published by Lo Scarabeo in 2021. You may have seen this deck before if you watch my channel or seen me do a video on this deck. There's actually a couple of videos that this has been in recently. One was a VR to Jonathan Daly called Last 10 Decks, and the other one was a VR to Benny from Fool's Apprentice, 5 tarot decks saved. So why would I have included this in 5 tarot decks saved? Because this is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, and I figured I want at least one deck that is a proper clone of a Rider-Waite-Smith. What I like about this so much is that it is a vintage looking deck. It has a nice sturdy 2-piece box as opposed to a tuck box. I'm not a fan of tuck boxes at all. And it has a decent guidebook. The guidebook is written by Sasha Graham. She's the author of the Tarot, the Witch's Garden, as well as the Darkwood Tarot. Like most Lo Scarabeo decks, this is written in 4 languages. There are 45 pages in English, has a few spreads, and decent write-ups on the cards as well. So it's actually a pretty decent little guidebook. These are the backs. Now, because this deck has a vintage vibe, I decided to edge it. It had just plain white edges. I used 4 different distress inks. I had to focus there. And to create this look of an old, worn, well-used, well-loved deck, I figured that it suited the vibe of the deck. You can see how it's the cards look like they're stained, faded. The colors are muted. It looks very worn. I really love things that are vintage, and this deck hits all the marks for me as far as a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. Love it. Absolutely love it. And of course, being linen, it shuffles so easily. I paid £23 for this on Amazon. As I said, it's mass market, so it's quite easy to get a hold of. Take a look at the shuffle really quickly, because that's the whole point of me using a linen deck. Has such a beautiful shuffle. So that is the Tarot Vintage. Next on my list of linen decks is the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. This is another mass market deck published by Llewellyn in 2023. The author is Sasha Graham and the artist is Natasha Ilinichik. I think that's pronounced. I really apologize, Natasha, if I got that wrong. I probably did. So very typical Llewellyn deck. I paid £30 on Amazon for this. It's got the magnetic flap. Some people can't stand these big boxes. I don't mind them. This is the guidebook. Really nice guidebook. Full color images with good write-ups on the cards. So that's the guidebook. I'll have a look at the cards. So these are the backs. You see that linen finish there. I feel like this deck sits in that space occupied by my Fae decks. This isn't a Fae or Fairy deck per se, but to me it has that vibe. This is another deck that I just absolutely adore. It's so fun. And again, super easy to shuffle. Definitely a favorite. And not just because it's linen, but because I love the imagery. This is true to the Rider-Waite-Smith system, so it's easy to read. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. And again, very, very easy to shuffle. So that is the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Next on my list of linen decks is the Pasta Tarot. This is another mass market deck published by Clarkson Potter, which is a division of Random House in 2021. This was initially an indie deck, launched on Kickstarter also in 2021 and was really, really popular. Creators are Jeff Petrillo, I believe it's pronounced, Rob Truglia, and the artist is Lindsay Mound. I paid £18 for this on Amazon. Nice sturdy box. I love the, it looks like a checkered tablecloth like you'd see in an Italian restaurant. It's so much fun. Just serious fun. So this is the little guidebook. Just a fold-out guide, but really handy. Nice and concise. It's got a nice little ribbon. That's the inside. And these are the cards. They've got, again, that really fun back. Look at that plate of spaghetti there with meatballs. It's really cute. It's really, really cute. And these are the fronts. This is another Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but obviously with an Italian pasta twist. I actually think the creators are Italian American. This deck sits in that space for me of decks that are just fun, you know? Sometimes you need that. You need a deck that's a little bit less serious, a little bit more lighthearted, but still capable of giving a very honest reading. And that's what this deck is. I don't use this deck a lot, but when I do, I really enjoy it. It's surprising how they've taken that whole theme of pasta and worked it into the Rider-Waite-Smith system so seamlessly. And it really just makes so much sense. Fun, fun deck. So let's have a quick look at the shuffle here. Slightly thicker cards. Let's try that again. The only thing about this is that they do tend to bow a little bit. I'm struggling with this today. They are, because they are a little bit thicker, they're a little stiffer. They do have the nice air pocket thing going. So if you're able to, you do get that lovely ruffle shuffle. I do struggle a bit more with this one just because they are stiffer cards. So they're not quite as bendy as some, although they are still pretty bendy. So that is the Pasta Tarot. Next on my list, we have another mass market deck. Initially, this was an indie deck launched in Kickstarter in 2021, picked up by the mass market, published by US Games in 2022. This deck is inclusive, beautiful artwork. It's really, really stunning. One of my favorite decks, for sure. Love the box. The guidebook is fantastic. Look at this. It's a hardcover guidebook. And it's color. With good write-ups. And some spreads at the back. It gives a little bit of information on the artist. I paid £42 for this, so it's a little on the pricey side. But it's worth it. These lovely gilded edges. And they're a nice gilding. They're not, they don't hurt the hands. These are the backs. Really beautiful. Not too wild about the copyright thing on the backs, but yeah, it's whatever. Okay, so we'll look at some of these cards here. Love the color palette in this. It is so beautiful. Muted, limited palette. Gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. And all kinds of body types in here. Very inclusive deck. That's lovely. This is, although this is a linen deck, it's quite a smooth linen finish. You can feel the linen though. So let's have a look at the shuffle for this. I'm sorry, I think I forgot to say this is the Fyodor Pavlov tarot. I don't know what was wrong with me. So let's have a look at the shuffle here. Beautiful, beautiful shuffle. So easy for me. If it's easy for me, it's going to be easy for probably almost anyone. Oh, I could shuffle this for hours. Well, if it wasn't for pain, I could shuffle this for hours. Realistically, a couple of minutes. But it feels so nice, I could definitely want to shuffle it for hours. So that is the Fyodor Pavlov Tarot. So next up, and the final mass market deck of this collection so far, is the Tarot of the Divine. Again, this was originally, I believe, an indie deck, but it was picked up by the mass market Random House in 2020. I might be wrong about it being indie at one point, but I don't think so. I bought it mass market. The artist is Yoshitani. I hope I pronounced that right. She's an illustrator based in San Francisco. She's done work for Disney, for Image Comics, Valiant Comics, IDW. She's quite a renowned artist. This deck is based on fairy tales, folklore, legends from around the world. What's shocking about this deck is how cheap it is. I paid £14 for this, which is like remarkable. There is a guidebook, a companion guidebook that you can buy if you want a little bit more information on the fairy tales and so on. This is the guidebook that is included. Tarot of the Divine. Nice full color pictures with brief descriptions. That's a guidebook. These are the cards. It does have a little ribbon. I love a ribbon. These are the backs. I think they're really, really pretty backs. Try and get that to focus there. There we go. You see that linen finish. No edging on these. I may or may not edge these. I'm not sure. Bright, colorful. Really beautiful, beautiful deck. And every card, of course, is the image is based on a different fairy tale or legend, story from cultures all over the world. I've got some of these cards upside down. That drives me crazy. I don't do reversals. I don't shuffle in reversals. So I don't know how that happened with this deck. I must have been being careless. I'll fix it. Oh gosh, a lot of upside down ones here. Let's turn those over. Look at that fool. So yeah, lovely, beautiful images. Gorgeous, bright, bright colors. Now let's have a look at the shuffle. It's a little bit of a thicker deck. Slightly stiffer cards, but still I'm struggling a bit with that. Here, I'm trying to show you how easy linen decks are for me to shuffle, and I'm struggling. It's just bad arthritis day, I guess. So that is the Tarot of the Divine. Beautiful deck. Okay, now we're moving into indie decks. So first on the list is the Terra Volatile. I have done a flip through of this. It is on my channel. If you'd like to see a closer look at the deck, the guidebook, and so on, I will also link the flip through in the description below. This is published independently by Credo Quia Absurdum, I believe it's pronounced, in Europe. First published in 2020, and I think they're on their, oh God, is it 7th printing now? I can't remember. I didn't write it down. This deck, the base deck, has 107 cards. There are 5 suits. So there's an extra suit called the Vessels, which represents the ether, quintessence, spirit, as well as a number of alternative cards. So if you, for example, the 3 of Cups has 3 different cards. So you can choose to male presenting, or to female, or a male and female, and that kind of thing. So there are alternative cards. I paid £47 plus £6 shipping for this. So let's have a really quick look. This is a gorgeous deck. This is a really deep, deep deck. This isn't, how do I say this? This is a study deck. This is the kind of deck that you could spend months, if not years, studying, especially if you have the guidebook. Now what you're seeing here is there's an expansion pack, and so I've gone through and chosen which cards I want to include in my deck. Because there's an extra suit, so there's so many more cards than would be in a normal tarot deck. It is a thick deck to shuffle, but still, I can't even really describe what it feels like to shuffle this deck. The cardstock on this is a German black core. I think this is 330 GSM. Look at that. It is so flexible. And of course, with the linen finish, it is so easy to shuffle for me. You can actually feel the air flowing through the cards. I don't know how to describe it. It's a really beautiful shuffle. So that is the Terra Volatile. Beautiful deck. Jellybean is going crazy in the background. He's got something he's chasing. Okay, next on the list is the Anima Mundi Tarot. This is another indie deck published by Megan Werwooden. I hope I pronounced that right. Of Creeping Moon. She's an American creator. This is currently on its 9th printing. 350 GSM. If you want to purchase this deck, you can get it through their shop if you are in the US or Canada. Also on their Etsy. Being in the UK, buying on Etsy is very expensive. They have distributors in the UK called JP Games, and it's much, much cheaper. So, for example, I paid £54 with free shipping. If I had bought it on Etsy, it would be $47 plus 22 shipping, so quite a bit more. This deck is based on the natural world and has also been featured in another recent video. On my channel. So this is the guidebook. It's not a huge guidebook, but has just enough information. And it is quite a good little guidebook for its size. These are the backs. Lovely backs. And again, this beautiful high quality gilding. Hello, Jellybean. You come to check it out. Oh, look at that. These are really, really gorgeous images. It is based on the Rider-Waite system, Rider-Waite-Smith system, but maybe a little bit more difficult to read for a beginner. But I think still fairly easy. If you would like me to do a flip through of any of these decks, just let me know in a comment below and I'd be happy to do that. I just love that. Look at the shuffle. Lovely shuffle. Nice flexible cards. So that is the Anima Mundi. Definitely one of my favorite decks. So next is another indie deck. This was on Kickstarter early 2023. This is the Elemental Empath Oracle. This is a self-love deck specifically for empathic women, but really for anyone who is empathic. 52 cards. Nothing on the campaign said this was linen, but after I got it, I was so surprised to see that it is linen. It's lovely. The artist is Miyuki. I have done a flip through and review of this. I'll link that in the description below. This was $50 US. So it's got, again, it's got this magnetic opening. It has a huge, huge guidebook. Look at this. Let's see, there are 273 pages. So each card has a section on the card itself, potential blocks, an exercise to do if you would like to, with a tiny little picture of the card. So of course this is a full color guidebook. That's the inside of the box. These are the backs. This has got another lovely gilding on the edges. It doesn't hurt to shuffle these. What have I done here? There we go. Oops. Okay. So each card has a keyword and then a phrase with a bit of description on what it means. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck. Inclusive, body diversity. Oh, it's just gorgeous. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. This is a really healing deck. I find it to be really healing. And wonderful if you want to do some self-love work. I'm not sure if this one is available for purchase or not anymore since the Kickstarter, but if you're interested in it, it might be worth checking it out. Gorgeous card. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Lovely to work with. It's very gentle. So the shuffle, look at how bendy these cards are. Let's try this again. So yeah, look at that. Really, really nice shuffle. So there we go. The Elemental Empath Oracle. Next on my list of linen decks, we have the Superlunaris Spark Edition. This was initially a Kickstarter in 2020. I will include a link to the website below. They released a special linen edition or Spark edition of this. It is a bit thinner. It is easier to shuffle. So for arthritic hands, it is a bit of a dream. So this is not edged. The linen edition comes in just a tuck box as opposed to the rigid box that their normal edition comes in. I don't like tuck boxes, but you know, you can always take them out and put them in a bag. The regular edition also has edging. This does not have any edging on it. Those are the bags. Lovely bags. It has just this little fold-out guide. And then these are the cards. Very inclusive deck. Diverse. Has a real gentle feel to it. Based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system. So if you can read that, you can definitely read this. Again, if you'd like to see a full flip through of this deck, just let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to put that on my list. Gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Okay, so a shuffle. This one is definitely not as bendy as the last one. Still, it's quite a good shuffle. So that is the Superlunaris Spark Edition. Next on my list, another indie deck. This is the Gentle Tarot Linen Edition. Again, this was originally released in a different format, I believe with a proper sturdy two-piece box. I believe this was on Kickstarter. And I will link in the description below where you can buy this. So this is the Gentle Tarot. Again, it's in a tuck box. They released the linen edition of this specifically so that they could have an edition available for people that was easier to shuffle, especially for people with arthritic hands like myself. Slightly smaller than normal cards. It is in a tuck box, which I'm not a fan of, but again, you can take them out and put them in a bag. Well, I think I forgot to mention the Superlunaris Spark cost me £31 plus 15 shipping from the United States to the UK. So there are several cards in here which just talks about opening and closing intentions, some spreads, and then cards for each of the suits. These are the backs. These are the cards. They have a lovely feel to them. It's definitely not the same quality as their normal deck. So it may not last as long with long-term use, but they recommend with this that you shuffle it, this way, and then the next time turn it this way so that the wear is even and you don't end up with a bow. That's probably a good practice with most decks, to be fair. This is an indigenous made deck, so it's got a beautiful, beautiful indigenous energy to it. me being Canadian, and I actually wrote a novel on First Nations people from Canada, and I've spent a lifetime surrounded by the Blackfoot Nation. And so I've got a real connection with Indigenous people. Great respect and love. So it's lovely to see a deck that reflects the values that they hold so dear. You can see here how the different suits, so wands are in this orange color, majors are in a purple, cups are blue. Swords are yellow, or thunder, they call it. And pentacles or stones are green. So this deck, I'm not sure if I said it cost me £30. I can't remember what I paid shipping for this, but let's see the shuffle. Really nice shuffle. So that is the Gentle Tarot Linen Edition. And they sent a lovely little linen bag for it as well. As well as a couple of cards. And the final deck that I have to show you today is the Nocturna Oracle, another indie deck. This is by Megan Weirwooden of Creeping Moon. This is the same creator that did the Anima Mundi. And they complement each other beautifully. So this is a 48 card Oracle deck. They're on their 4th printing now. For US users, I will link the Etsy below. A UK best to buy from JP Games. This cost me £48 plus free shipping. On Etsy, it is £43 plus 22 to the UK. So if you're in the UK, you definitely want to use JP Games, which is their distributor in the UK, or one of their distributors. So it has a small guidebook with a little bit of information on each card. These are the backs. Really lovely backs. This is edged, so it looks very, very similar to the Anima Mundi. And these are the cards. Really beautiful deck. If you'd like to see a full flip through of this one, let me know. In fact, I have planned to do a flip through of the Anima Mundi and this deck together, just to show how well they work together. It's a gorgeous deck. And we'll look at the shuffle. lovely shuffle. Just like the Anima Mundi. So that is the Nocturna Oracle. And that is the final deck in today's collection. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. So what do you think of these decks? Do you have a favorite? Are any of these decks in your personal collection? Have you been thinking about adding any of these decks to your collection? If you have a YouTube channel, I'd love to see your collection of linen decks. So feel free to use the hashtag ILoveLinenDecks. Tag me in it, and I'd really love to see your videos. Thank you so much for joining me today for this video. I hope to see you again soon. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified of any videos that I do in the future. I really appreciate you joining me today. Until next time, may love and laughter light your days. Bye for now.